Voters and citizens in Davie County on May the 6th, they'll have an opportunity to vote on an issue they've never voted on before. This is a totally different solution that's been proposed in the past. I know that in 2003 and 2007 there were bond referendums that failed for 2 high schools, but this is a solution for one school for all students in Davie County. So it's very important that citizens are informed as they go to the polls on May the 6th. This plan was developed over the past year and a half even. We involved hundreds of citizens and parents, staff members from the Davie County High School, students. They were all involved in the design process of this high school plan. And we listened very carefully to what voters had said in the past. This community has been very clear. We don't want 2 high schools. So this is a solution for one school. The other thing we found very unique as we began this process and talked to people, we made visits to Mecklenburg County, to Forsyth County, and we visited other campuses. And Davie County is unique in a good way. We have one high school for all students. For example, if you're a student in Forsyth County, you go to Reagan or East Forsyth or West Forsyth, and you want to take an academically placed or an advanced placement course, or a career and technical education class, or vocational class as we used to call those. You have to get in your vehicle or you're on a yellow school bus and go to the Career Center on Highway 52 North on the other side of the city. In this plan, all of those programs are on a single campus. So the high school we've designed is bigger than the traditional high schools you might see in a more urban area that has multiple schools. So we've listened. We've listened to what teachers said they wanted. We've listened to what students said they wanted, parents and citizens, and we've been respectful of what voters have said they wanted and didn't want in the past. In 1956, there were 5 high schools in Davie County. And this community came together and they closed down those high schools and consolidated to the one school we have today. So in 1956, it was a new school that opened for 725 students. And they had vision at that point. They planned that school so that it could be expanded up to 1,000 students. So they sized the hallways and the core areas for up to 1,000 students. Today we have 1,780 students. We have 29 mobile classrooms on that campus. Not all of those 29 mobiles can be used as a classroom because of the condition of those units. It's time for us to solve this issue. Our community invested in that school, and that school has served the community well for almost 60 years, and it's time that we reinvest. As I look around Davie County, we are very blessed. When you look at economic development over the past couple years, we've had new industry come here that's going to expand the tax base. We've been blessed as a community with people who have invested in Davie County with private money. And now I believe it's time for us as citizens and responsible adults in the community to take this issue and put it to rest and to invest in our future as those in the past have invested in ours. People have asked me what happens if the vote is no on May the 6th. What if people don't embrace this solution? And my response has always been, at that point in time, I would go back to the Board of Education. We would have to re-engage this community. Our commissioners have made it clear that anything over $10 million would have to go before a vote of the people. So we would have to regroup and regather and decide what would be next. We have proposed what we feel like is the very best solution for the needs of Davie County schools and for our high school students for years and years to come. So we're hopeful that our respect of this citizenry in Davie County and all the planning and the people we've had involved has resulted in a plan that people will embrace on May the 6th. In 2012, the Board of Education conducted a facilities assessment. We knew that we had to take care of all of our 12 school campuses. So we hired an architectural firm out of Charlotte to do a facilities assessment, and they inventoried all of our 12 campuses. They looked at electrical, heating and air, roofing projects, classrooms that we needed for the next 10, 15 years. And they helped us to prioritize what needed to be done in each of our school facilities. And the Board of Education took that information and we developed Priority 1, Priority 2, Priority 3 projects with our maintenance staff. And over the next 10 years, we're able to address our Priority 1 projects in elementary and middle schools with our existing revenues. But it came back to, during that facilities assessment, the architects said, your number one priority is Davie County High School. So I talked to the architectural firm and I said, guys, I want you to go down to 601 and look at our existing campus and tell me, what does it take to make this a 21st century learning environment? And they started assessing the different buildings that were there. And again, Davie High was built in 1956 for 725 students. When it opened, there was no cafeteria, no auditorium, no gymnasium. The cafeteria and the gym were added over time. The campus has spread out. And the architects came back to me one day and said, Dr. Hartness, we've stopped our estimates at $44 million. We found that it's just not cost effective to continue to spend money on this existing campus when you can build a new campus for just a little more, or it may end up being a wash. I took the recommendation from the architects to the school planning division in Raleigh, and they reviewed the facilities assessment. And they indicated to us that unless Davie County plans to do nothing for the next 10 years, that they did not advise we continue to spend more money on the existing high school campus. That $44 million was too close to the cost of building a new school on a properly sized campus. The architects said not only is there a cost, superintendent, but we have a list of limitations to this site. You need 60 to 80 acres worth of property to build a new school. You have 33 acres here. You have traffic concerns. You have entrance and egress concerns. And I guess the question that caught my attention the most was, Mr. Superintendent, what do you plan to do with 2,000 people that occupy this campus 5 days a week, 10 months out of the year, while a major renovation and reconstruction would take place on this campus? And that was an eye-opener there. Would we buy lots of mobile units to put them on another campus and have students back and forth during that time period? We renovate schools all over North Carolina a lot, but they're typical classroom additions or renovations within an existing part of a school. So this was a major undertaking. So with that information that it was not feasible to continue to spend money on the existing campus, the Board of Education embraced Walter Robbs Callahan Pierce, an architectural firm out of Winston-Salem who has built schools in Davie County and all over North Carolina. And we invited them to come and work with us on a schematic design for one school that would meet the needs of our teachers and students. And before you have a rendering of the front entrance of the school that they've designed. We visited schools in Charlotte and in Forsyth, and this plan is closest to Walkertown High School in Forsyth County. It's different, it's much bigger because we have vocational programs on campus, we have advanced placement courses on campus, and we have a larger student population than Forsyth County Walkertown High School. The core capacity of this school is 2,000 students, and what we like a lot about this design is that this is the main entrance, and after the school day begins, this is the only way in the school. So all the exterior doors are locked from the outside. You have to come in, go through the office to get to the main part of the building. If you were to take an airplane across the top of this schematic design, this is what you would see. The main part of the campus here is a one-story structure. This is the main entrance. This is the area for the auditorium, the office, the gymnasium. There's two corridors that go into an academic wing that is 3 stories. And then there's a career and technical education building here that's separated. It would be connected back to the main academic building, but it doesn't show that on this design. So this is from the back, and this is a front view of the school itself. So now let's go inside this design. This is the main entrance. This is the office and guidance department here. If you go past the office, once you enter the building, this is the cafeteria. This has seating for up to 600 students. Currently we have 5 lunch periods at Davie County High School. This would allow us to have 3 lunch periods. On a nice day like today, you have outdoor dining capability as well. To the right of the cafeteria is a 750-seat auditorium. Again, we never built an auditorium on the campus of Davie County High School. That would be the home to the theater arts department. The band, chorus, and dance would all be in this area, as well as the rest of the arts department. Be a wonderful place for our students to be able to perform on their campus before their peers. The students who now don't have an opportunity to have an experience of all the things that go on behind stage with the technical aspect of productions will have that on their campus. We would also be able to host events for the community, and we would have to have an opportunity to have really nice events for our students, like National Honor Society induction and other things like that on campus that are very special that we don't have a place for now. To the north is the gymnasium. This gym will seat 2,000 spectators. Currently our gym will seat 1,240. This would also be a place where all students could come together in one location on campus for pep rallies or for other events. We have an auxiliary gym. A wrestling room is planned here. Currently our wrestlers practice in a locker room. JROTC, the health and PE department is all back in here. This is the kitchen area. So that takes care of the one-story structure. Students would go through these two large hallways that are designed for 2,000 students, and they would go into this academic wing. And this is what's on the first floor of the academic wing. We have regular classrooms here. We have science labs on each of the 3 floors, and those science labs are sized for biology, physics, and chemistry labs as we would build today. They have gas and water and all the amenities of a current modern science lab. Down here we have the Exceptional Children's Department for students with special needs. We have some vocational or career and technical education courses here, like foods and nutrition, drafting, and business. And then this is our CTE building, or vocational building, that'll be the home to carpentry and masonry and agri-science and auto tech. We find today that there are a lot of students who are very interested in these types of courses where they can get a certificate along with their high school diploma, go directly to work, or continue their education at a community college or a university. And we do not have currently the facilities that will house the number of students who are interested in those types of courses. So now let's go upstairs. On the second floor of the academic wing, we have more classrooms, science labs, classrooms here. And then this is the media center, which is away from the gymnasium and cafeteria. It's on the second floor of the academic wing. One thing that we saw in Forsyth and Mecklenburg is they're building their classrooms around 730 to 760 square feet. All the regular classrooms in this plan are 850 square feet. Our teachers said they needed more space for big people, for group work, and for project-based learning like we do today. There are 6 of these darker classrooms in the plan that are teacher workrooms that would have cubicles for teacher offices. Those could be expanded and used as classrooms in the future if we chose to convert those. On the third floor of the academic wing are more classrooms here and here, and science labs. And on each of these in the academic tower we have 4 staircases, and we have an elevator to transport materials up and down, or with students with special needs, or someone who may have a handicap from an injury. This is a drawing that shows the site plan. So if you would imagine with me, Interstate 40 runs this direction. And if you were to take the Farmington Road exit off of Interstate 40, this is Farmington Road. And on your left is North Davie Middle School. That middle school's been there since the early 1980s. As part of the school bond, we have budgeted to bring the softball field and this baseball field up to high school standards. These facilities are currently shared between the school system and the Davie County Little League, and the folks we've talked to at the Little League are real excited about us putting additional resources into bringing that field up to standards. We have a great partnership with them, and we would continue that partnership. On the middle school campus, we have 4 tennis courts. We would add 4 courts there as well. And now let's look at this property just past the middle school on the left-hand side of the road. In the mid-2000s, the county of Davie looked at several different properties near the center of the county, and they selected this site. It's 53 acres, and there's currently 12 acres of property on the North Davie Middle site that's not being utilized. So altogether, we have 65 acres for this high school campus. So let's take a little closer look now at what that site might look like. When this site was selected, the Department of Transportation liked this site better than any of the others near the center of the county because of excellent entrance and egress. Very close proximity to Interstate 40 and Highway 158. In fact, if we go back a little farther in history, we said Davie High was built in 1956. In 1956, the center of the population was where the high school is now. The mill was open in Coolamy, there was manufacturing in Moxville, But as part of our facilities assessment, there was a demographic study done. And in that demographic study, the center of Davie County's population now is somewhere near the intersection of Sane and Milling roads. But on those roads, we don't have the utilities that would be necessary for a school. So this is a couple miles northwest of the center of the population. The Department of Transportation has a traffic plan to widen the road and add turning lanes here. On the 12 acres of the Davie Middle School campus, we would add tennis courts. We would add a 4,500 seat football stadium. We have in the alternate bid would be a field house. We have parking around that stadium as well. Parking around the school. There are 1,100 parking spaces in this plan. Currently we have 550 spaces. This is a loop road that goes around the school site. We have practice fields. We have a place for a barn for the agri-science department or agri-tech. Back on this side of the school, our demographic study indicated that our population is fairly flat in Davie County unless we had significant economic development. And again, we've been blessed with that. So not only do we have some spaces in the existing plan for expansion of classrooms, but we've set aside this area on the site plan. In the future, if you wanted to build a 1, 2, or 3-story classroom building for up to 36 classrooms that would link back into the academic wing, we have designated that on the site plan for future use. Throughout the process of designing the new school, we heard a lot of people say, well, if you build a new school, what do you do with the existing campus? Which is an outstanding question. So we brought together a group of about 60 people, and we spent quite a bit of time one day going through and talking about ideas of how could you use the existing 33-acre site for this community if a new school were built. And the parameters were the Board of Education and I would like to use the newest classroom building on campus, which is we call the K building. It has the Media Center, Performing Arts building. We'd like to use that for offices and a professional development center for our teachers and a boardroom. And then we would deed the remaining 31 acres over to the County of Davie to determine how they might want to use that in the future. But this group of 60 people came together in a planning session, and they put a lot of different ideas on the table, everything from ball fields to the use of the stadium to batting cages to some people said they'd like to have an outdoor pool or splash park, outdoor basketball, sand volleyball, continuing to use the gymnasiums that were on campus, an outdoor green space and theater, walking trails. All those things were generated. Ultimately, when the school opens, almost 3 years from now, the County of Davie would have to decide exactly how you would utilize that campus. The Board of Education has in the school bond $2.6 million to be spent on that campus to renovate that K building, to remove the oldest buildings from the campus, and to grade the facility for future use. One of the things that I hear quite often is, what's the economic impact of a school? Well, there's a lot of research out there that says when there's new schools built, it has a positive effect on property values. But it also has a positive effect on the local economy. I know in my past experience in working in other school districts and part of project teams to build new schools or renovate schools, as soon as a contractor is selected once the bidding process is over, I go to that contractor and say, here's a list of local suppliers and local subcontractors. We want you to use these people as much as possible to help our local economy. So I believe the construction of this school that would take over 2 years would have a tremendous impact on the economy, short term and long term. So let me explain what's in the bond referendum on May the 6th. So the cost of the school itself is $48 million. But you have to occupy the school. You have to purchase furniture and technology, pay architectural fees, permitting fees, moving fees. So to completely occupy the building and move in ready is just about $54 million. That's the total cost of the school. But we've also included in the school bond $2.6 million for use on this campus. And that does 3 things. 1, it renovates this building here. 2, it removes the oldest buildings on the campus. And 3, it grades this facility for future use. So on the May 6th ballot, you will see a question that says $54.5 million of general obligation bonds for school construction. Yes or no? The Board of Education has committed $2 million in North Carolina lottery revenues toward the front end of the project and $200,000 a year toward the project itself. If the school bond passes on May the 6th, The school would open in the fall of 2017, and the class of 2018 would be the first graduating class. In addition to the school bond that's on the May 6th ballot, there is a $5 million recreation bond, and the county commissioners have indicated if the school bond passes, a significant portion of that $5 million would go toward building out something like this on this campus. But this is 3 years out because the school has to take a while to be constructed. If the school bond were to fail, there has not been an indication of exactly how that $5 million would be used. If you want more information about the plan for one new high school in Davie County, people will be voting on that on May the 6th. Early voting starts on April the 24th. My job as your superintendent is not to ask people to vote yes or vote no, but to be informed. And that's what I encourage voters to do. So to be informed, we've put several resources out there for you. If you have access to the internet, you can go to the Davie County Schools website. You can Google Davie County Schools, or you can go to www.davie.k12.nc.us. And we have a link there on the main page that says 2014 School Bond. And on that page, you will find a lot of resources. You'll find a whole fact sheet on questions that we have been asked over the past 18 months. You'll see a short video clip of the plan itself. You will see all the documentation along with all the presentations that have been done by the architects to the Board of Commissioners. We requested this process to begin last April, so we're almost a year into the request. But we have that resource. The school system itself has published a fact sheet. In fact, I have one here on my desk. It's called Facts on the New Davie County High School. We have those available to be printed from the website, or they're available here at my office. And in that fact sheet is a summary of what people will be voting on May the 6th, a summary of the cost, a summary of the design, over 40 questions that we've been asked, and a comparison of the proposed facility versus what we have now. We want to thank Yatel for your support and being an excellent business partner to Davie County Schools. I know you televise our board meetings, and we really appreciate this opportunity to share with your viewers the importance of this vote, and hopefully they will be taking some time to become more informed.